So, as I was saying, the notebook that understands our language is the Jupyter notebook. Hmm? So, once we have that, we launch. So, it's going to be using your browser app as as a platform to display the notebook. So, if you are using Chrome, it's going to use your Chrome. If you are using Explorer, it's going to use your Explorer. Now, does it mean Python involves using data? Do we have to have data before we can use it? Not necessarily. No, there are some things that we want to do that we might not necessarily need to involve data. But there are some things that you need to do that would involve you to use your data. So, but it's using your browser as a platform to showcase the notebook. So the next thing we want to do now, if you look at this, these are your files, your desktop, your documents, your downloads. So now let's assume that that particular script you want to write, you want to put it inside your document. So click on Documents. These are the files in my own document, right? These are the files in my own document. So now, if I want to put it inside this document, I'll just click on New here. Have you seen New? So if you want to open it, it's not compulsory you go to Documents. This is my normal file. If I want to put it here, so I can put it here. I can decide to put it here too. So you can just go to New. So when you click on New, you'll see Python 3. So Python 3 is what you click on to start. You click on Python 3 to start. So it depends on where you want to put it. If I want to put it in desktop, click on desktop. I'll click on new under desktop and I'll click on Python 3. Don't forget Python 3. So if I click on Python 3, I can start. Are we good? Hope you guys are hearing me.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, can you explain the difference between Anaconda, NumPy, Jupyter? I don't quite get the three of them, as in the difference between the three of them.
Okay. If you are going to NumPy, we've not even started. That's when we get to NumPy is a library where in Python, for any function you want to use, those functions you want to use, they are inside the library. So just like the way all these functions we use in Excel, we can just call it at any time. So in Python, these functions are inside the library. So there are some libraries that we call them out in case we want to use a function in them. Do you understand? So when we get to NumPy, you understand what I'm saying better. Anaconda, you can find your Jupyter notebook inside of Anaconda. This is Anaconda, right? This is Anaconda. So by the time I open my Anaconda, my Jupyter notebook is an application inside the Anaconda. Do you understand now?
Okay, so Anaconda, is it like an app that we need to install
Yes,
on the
that is the
system?
video I sent to you. So,
Okay,
so the video would show you how to install this Anaconda. Once you install the Anaconda and you would open it, then you can
okay,
launch the notebook.
okay.
So I can continue, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's open
So,
the
so we
Anaconda.
have Mr. Ahmed. So we have that Python in that Jupyter, right?
No, 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 no. Don't forget, Python is a language. I've not shown you
Okay.
Python at all. Python is what we write. You can't see. It's like saying, are you showing me Yoruba? Or you're saying, are you showing me English? Do you understand? I'm showing you the notebook where we are going to write our Python. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
So the name of the notebook is what?
The Jupyter.
Jupyter notebook. Do you understand?
Okay.
So I said if you want to open that script, that Python script, that is that notebook, this is the Jupyter, right? So this is where I click on desktop and I want to save whatever I've done inside the desktop file. So I'll just click on new and I click on Python 3. Once I click on Python 3, it's going to bring out the notebook for me where I can start writing or where I can start coding. Yeah, this is where it is. So this is the page where we can start writing our Python. This is the page where we can start writing our Python script. Any question before we start?
Please, it's not really a question, but I want to point your attention to something on this SQL something. You said you
Okay.
will teach us how to upload files. So we have not been
Yeah.
taught that.
So that is even when you understand Python a little bit. You understand? Maybe I just started. But please and please, that's something we must do before we end this class. Do you understand? I didn't forget. By
Okay, okay, okay.
you reminding me is actually a very good idea, and I don't want it to stop. So that I will not forget. So this is how it looks like. So let me explain some of these things to us. So in your case, you might not see from this point to this point. These are, I think these are some plugins I brought in. So you might not really see all of this. So now, this is a cell. This cell is where I write my code, right? So I can decide to write something inside the cell. I can decide to write something inside. I hope you can see what I'm writing.
Yes, sir.
So
We
once
can,
I
but you can increase it a little bit.
okay, once
Okay.
I write, I can run. So if this is a code, I can decide to run it, and I'll click on run, and it will give me my answer underneath. We'll be doing something like that very soon. I think someone wants to join the class. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I forgot that what we are doing is still on our browser. So if you look at it, this is where we have our title, and they call it untitled. So if I want to change it, I can just decide to name this file something else. Let's save it as what can we save it as? So let me just save it as someone should give me a name of
Python class.
Python. I have Python class intro. Then I'll click on rename. So this is and it's auto saved. Don't forget we saved it under our desktop. So if I go to desktop, my desktop now, I've seen it's Python class intro. So this is it. Python class intro. Now it's not something that you come here and you click on this script and you think Python will open up. No, it's not going to open like that. If you look at it, this is not even a script that this is not something that you just open like that. So what you have to do is open your Anaconda, open the Jupyter notebook. Once you open the Jupyter notebook, the Jupyter notebook will bring you here, right? The Jupyter notebook will bring you here, and you know that it is in desktop, right? So you click on desktop, and this is it, Python class intro. Are you getting it? Python. So you must have opened your Anaconda and everything before you can start. So, okay. So, please give me just a minute. I'm coming. So you can continue if you can hear me now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, so you can go to your desktop where you saved it, then open it, Python class intro, and you can. So now, I would want to leave it like this. I don't want to zoom in because I want you to see like a full view of what I'm doing. So how does it really look like? Can I add multiple cells? Why am I seeing only one cell? Yes, you can add as many as possible. So hold on, hold on. Can you see I'm adding? These are cells. So this is a place for you to add cells. Like this is it. So this is for you. Maybe when you are working and you want to save, you can just save. So to save. So this is save. This is cut. So you can just actually go through all of this. But the main thing I really want to explain, the main thing I want to explain is this. I want to explain two things: code and markdown. This code and markdown. These are the two things I want to explain. Now, if you're writing a code, if you look at it now, this is merely like a code, right? So that is why we are having it as a code. Because whatever we are writing on our script, the Python script is a code. But there are some cases that what you want to write is not a code. Maybe something like a description or an heading, something that does not really involve. It's not really like it's not a code. It's an English word. Maybe you just want to write something like introduction. Let me have something like this. Python class introduction. This is not a code per se. This is not. I don't want it to look like a code. I want it to come out. If you look at it, it's already colored in different. You already have different formats. This is blue because it's seen it like a code, but we don't want it to look like a code. I want it to come out like something else. Then I'll change it from this code and I'll bring it as a markdown. So if I bring it as a markdown now, then I can run it. So once I run, it's coming out as a normal thing. It's just like an header on your notebook. It's like an header on your notebook. Can I increase the font size of this? Can I make it big? If I want to edit, I'll just double click. If I put an hash sign, have you seen it? An hash before I start. Can you see how big it is? So if I run this now, it's going to make it big and bold. If I want to, this is the highest you can go. So now if I want it to become a little bit smaller, click on it, click on it, then I'll make the hash double. If I make the hash double, it's now lesser than the first one. So if I want to make it smaller again, I'll add another hash. If I want to make it smaller again, I'll add another hash. So now you can have a topic, you can have subtopics under them. So you can just be differentiating them with what? Your hash. So now, this is what we have for our Python. So this is under Markdown, right? This is under Markdown. So if I run it, it's going to work. But if I put it under code and I run it, it's going to throw an error because Python does not really understand this code. This is not a Python code. This is not a Python language. It's like you're speaking Igbo to a Yoruba notebook. So let's cancel this. I hope you're understanding all what I'm saying now. So now, there is an edit view, and there is a view screen. Sorry, a view. I'll put it like that. Now, look at this. If you look at this, I can't write anything yet because it is still blue here, right? It is still blue. But if I click on it, now it is green. I can start writing. I'll come back again. Just click on escape key. If I click on escape key now, this is, I've forgotten what we used to call this. But this is something that you can just view it. This is not yet on the edit mode. I can't write anything yet. But if I now click on this cell, it's going to turn from this blue to green. So on that green now, I can start writing. But if it is on blue, I can't write. I'm already writing now. Can you see what it is doing? I can't write on it, but it has to be on green before I can start writing. So now, what can I do when it is on blue then? I can view. Then another thing, let's assume that I'm on this cell and I want to put something above it. I want to put another cell. Okay, hold on. Let me delete some cells. Now, how do I delete? Okay, before I even delete, I want to add another cell under this one. I want to add another cell under this. What do I need to do? Go back to your normal view mode. When we are on our view mode, then you can click on B. If I click on B, that is letter B, it's going to add another one underneath, letter B. If I click on A, it's going to add another cell above it. It's adding above already. Oh. It's already above. If I add B, it's below. A is above. So that is it. What if I want to delete? I'll just click on DD, D twice. DD, DD, DD. It's already deleting. Are you seeing it? It's deleting it. Now, if I click on DD here now, it is on a green mode, but if I click on DD, it's writing the DD inside. But if I click on escape key and I click on DD, DD, it's deleting those cells. So by the time I start doing these things, and you are seeing it and you are saying, what does it mean? What are you doing? Or what are you typing? So you understand what I'm typing. If I want to write anything inside the cell, I'll make sure it is on the what? Edit mode. So I can start writing whatever I want to write. If it is on the view mode, I can only add to the cell, above it, below it, or I delete. So those are the things I can do. So now let's start coding.
Sorry, how do you change it to the green mode? I
You
missed
just
that.
click, you just click on
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So let's start coding. Who is ready to start? So now, yeah, I have so I can decide to print something. What does print means? Um, Print is a language in Python that sends a command that, okay, whatever I'm putting inside that bracket, I want you to print it out for me. So print is a function. So print is like, okay, I'm telling Python, print that word inside the bracket, that word inside that code. I want you to print it for me. So look at this. Let me delete it. And I say print, and I put a bracket. It's going to tell me, okay, what do you want to print? What am I printing? Then I'll say whatever I want to print, that will be in a quotation. Then I'll say print ijan. Then I'll run. How do I run? Either I click on this, it's going to bring out ijan, or better still, I can click on shift enter, shift enter, or control enter. Wait, no, it's shift enter, sorry. Control enter is working. Shift enter or control enter is working. Yeah, shift enter or control enter. any of the two, it's going to run it. Any of the two is going to run it. Can I print multiple things? Yes, I can print multiple things. Now look at what I told Python to print. I said print hello world. After printing, after that one, then I came down again. Enter key, it will go to the next one. Then I said print another thing again for me. So it will print those things. So that is the first thing. So whatever you are telling Python to print, it's going to print it out for you. So you already know how to print. That's the first thing. Then the next thing I want to go into is something called variables. Variables. So what is a variable? A variable is used to store data. A variable is something you just need to store something. So now, look at the first thing I wrote there. I wrote that a is equals to 1. And one thing about Python is that when I tell Python a is equals to 1 and I run it, what will Python do? Python will say, okay, a is equals to 1. Once you run, Python is not going to bring out any answer because you have not told Python to do anything. You're just telling Python a is equals to 1. It's like telling someone a is equals to 1. Just like, okay. But if you tell Python that a is equals to 1, now print a for me. If you tell Python that print a, Python will not tell you that, oh, because you already told me that a is equals to 1, if I tell Python print a, it will not show 1 as our answer. It will show 1 as our answer. So now, it's not all, that's why I'm telling you that it's not all commands that you run that will bring out an output. There are some commands that you run that it will just say, it will not bring out anything because you've not told it to bring out something for you. So if you really want something, then you tell Python that print this answer. That's what I said. I want you to do some analysis. Print the answer of the analysis for me. Or I want to see the analysis. You can call it out. So I prefer using the word call it out. So you call that thing out. So what is a variable? A variable is used to store data. So I already said a is equals to 1. A is equals to 1. So anywhere I'm using a now, anywhere I'm using a, Python would always assume that a is 1. So now I wrote a is equals to 1, and if I run it, once I run, it's not going to bring out any answer for me. Forget about everything that is down. It's not going to bring out anything for me. It's just going to show me that, okay, a is equal to 1. I've not told it to do anything. But look at the next line. I said print a. Print a. What would happen in that case? Since I already saved a as 1, Python would say what? A. Since I said print a now, then to bring out 1 as our print. You understand? Python will always print out something that you put inside the bracket. What we put inside the bracket is what? A. But we already store A as 1. That is why it's bringing out 1 as our answer. So that is what is called a variable. A is our variable. You remember, I think quantitative, I think that's in our primary school, where we have all these formulas and they give us formulas, or they will say, okay, represent this particular number with A, represent this one with B, and anywhere you see that number, anywhere you see that letter, you just represent it with a number, something like that. So that's what we are talking about. So that's what we call a variable. Now, someone didn't ask me that question, that what's the difference between using that quotation and not using quotation? Who can answer that question? If I put quotation here now, if I
I
put
think
quotation,
for this one,
if I
okay.
put quotation here now, what does it mean?
If
You
this
will
one
print
means you are
A.
telling
Thank you,
You
sir.
will print
Okay,
A.
exactly. So if I print that one inside that quotation, it's going to print that A because I'm telling Python that that thing inside quotation, that is what I want you to print. But if I'm not putting quotation, I'm telling Python that there is a variable that I've stored as A. I want you to print out that variable for me. And once I run it, it's going to give me 1. So now if I remove quotation from here, from ijan, and I run this, it's going to bring out an error. Because can you see the error? The name ijan is not defined because I've not said okay, store ijan as something. But if I come here, I want to add a cell above this. I hope you understand how I did that because I'm not going to be telling you that again. So when I say ijan is equals to 2015 and I 2025 and I run that, because I've stored ijan as 2025 now, Python already understands that ijan is 2025. Then I can now run this. So if I print ijan now, Python will see that okay, 2025 is coming out. Another thing I can do, what if what I want to see here is ijan gongon, ijan. So I'll put what here? I'll put this inside what? A quotation. Then I will run it. Then I will run it. Are we good? Can we move on now?
Yes.
You are getting it, Abby? Please, you must get all these basics, so they are very, very important. You know, the reason why we are going this back is because it's a language that I want to assume that we don't understand anything about it at all. So we are starting from the scratch. So now look at this. Please hold on. Someone is on my door. What happened? I'm in class. I will slap her face. I'm in class. Don't disturb me. Sorry for that. Let's continue with our class. So now, look at the next thing I did. Look at this. I want to store this. I want to store 67 as a variable. And I want to call the variable GHFHFT. That's the name of the variable. So variable is something that you can decide to store with anything you like. Just that you must not forget that name. Do you understand? You must not forget that name. So I can decide to print this and I'll get 667. So that's another thing. So now, what is a type function going to do for us? I'm telling this notebook that okay, type A. Don't forget our A is what? 1. I'm now saying what is the type of A? That is what type of data is A? That's what I'm asking Python. Now, what type of data is that A that I stored? Python is telling me that A is an integer. So if you want to know the type of your data or the type of a variable, this is the function to use. Use the function what? Type. So type of A is called what? An integer. I want to store another thing again. I'm saying B is equal to IO. B is equal to IO. So anywhere I see B now, and I'm running it, if I run this now, I've stored IO as B in Python. So now, instead of writing print B, I can just call B out. If I tell Python B, I've stored B as IO. You know, we've been using print. If I just say B, Python will just bring out that thing I stored, IO. So look at this again. You know, we've stored ijan. So if I say ijan, sorry, ijan, don't forget we stored ijan as something and I run it. It's going to bring out 2025 because we stored it. So I can decide to print and I can decide to just call it out. So it's still going to do the same thing. So now, what is the type of B? If you look at it, this is a text, right? In Python, we call it string, str, string. So text and string is also the same thing. So in Python, we call it string, not a text. Um, In Excel, we use text, right? In Python, we call it what? String. In Python, we call it string. So print B. If I print B now, what's going to come out? We already stored B as Ayo. So if I print B now, what will come out? Ayo will come out. Yeah, Ayo will come out. So now, how do we interchange variable? How do we interchange variables? That is another thing now. So forget about these three. I want to use this and this now. We are storing X as a boy and Y as a girl. X as a boy, Y as a girl. But now that we noticed that you should not have stored it like that. You should have stored it the other way around. X should be girl, Y should be boy. That is the way we should have stored it. But we saved it already. How do we interchange it? How do we interchange it? So now I can decide to do something like this. Let me delete all of this. If A is equals to 7, and G is equals to 8, let's run it. And I want it the other way around. I can now say, if I call out A now, if I call out A, what is A? Yeah, 7. But normally, I don't want A to be 7. I want A to be 8 and G to be 7. Then I can come here and say, okay, A is equals to 8, right? Then let me call it out, A. Now it is 7. I'll have to do the same thing for G too, because now A has collected 8. G, what if I call out G now? What will happen? G. G is still 8 and A is still 8. So I have to do the same thing for what? For G again. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Someone should answer.
Yes, sir. Understand.
So
It's
we have
okay.
two things that are now 8. A is 8, G is still 8. So now I can now say, okay, your G now should be equal to 7. Then I'll run it. So I can call out G. So now G is 7, A is 8. But there are some cases that what I just did now, you want to interchange without really doing it one by one again. You want to interchange without really not really doing it one by one again. You know, I have to do it manually again. I have to interchange it manually. If you understand what I'm saying. I have to now say, okay, A is what? 8. G is what? 7. So now how do I do it? How do I interchange without calling it out normally? Now it's like let me use, because if I use this analogy it might not work. Okay, let me try and use this analogy. X is equals to boy and Y is equals to girl. Our endpoint is that at the end of the day, our X should be girl and Y should be boy. So I will introduce a new variable called Z. That Z now will now collect whatever X has before. Z will collect whatever X has. X has boy, Z will collect it. Since Z is collecting it, if Z is collecting it, X does not have anything because Z has collected it. X is not a boy again with this first line. Z is now a boy because we already said Z is equal to what? X. I will now say from the next line, I will now say X now is now equals to y. You know, Z has collected boy, X does not have anything. X now can go and collect whatever Y has. X now can now be girl. Y does not have anything. Y now can now go and collect what Z has, which is a boy. And our answer is settled. What I just said now, you don't understand. Raise up your hand. So you just say something.
What I wanted to find out is that if you store a variable with a figure, if you change it again, is the last one that will remain, that will be constant.
Yes, it's the last one. Thank you.
Okay.
But what I just explained, who does not understand? You all understand?
Please come again.
Okay. So let me just use another analogy.
I'm trying to assimilate it first before
We are
asking
trying to.
questions.
Okay, it's like this. I'm giving Mrs. Perpetua. I'm giving her 500 naira, and I'm giving Mr. Rio 1,000 naira. Mrs. Perpetua 500. Mr. Rio 1,000. But normally it's supposed to be Mrs. Perpetua 1,000, Mr. Rio 500. Please, I want you to get it all. As I gave Mrs. Perpetua, let me write it down so I will not forget the analogy, because it's something that is really, really important. Mrs. Perpetual, that is not right. Mrs. Perpetual, I gave her 500. Mr. Rio, I gave him 1,000. But normally, Mrs. Perpetual is supposed to collect 1,000, and Mr. Rio is supposed to collect 500. But that's a mistake on my side. How do I interchange it? Mrs.
You are not seeing your screen.
No, 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 no. Just forget about whatever is on the code. I'm explaining. Do you understand? What I'm explaining is not on that particular sheet. I gave Mrs. Perpetua 500 instead of 1,000. So I give Mr. Rio 1,000 instead of 500. What am I going to do? Okay, what I will do is I will now come as a neutral person. Me, I'm a neutral person. Okay, let's use Mrs. Nkem as a neutral person. Mrs. Nkem will come as a neutral person. She will collect the 500 from Mrs. Perpetua. If she collects the 500 from Mrs. Perpetua now, Mrs. Perpetua does not have anything. She has collected it. No problem. Since Mrs. Perpetua does not have anything, now she can collect from Mr. Rio the original 1,000 she's supposed to collect. If Mrs. Perpetua has collected the 1,000 from Mr. Rio, now Mr. Rio can collect the 500 from Mrs. Nkem. Do you understand now?
Okay, I think I get it now.
So Mrs.
Like
Nkem
if
is
you
just
want to
coming.
write it now, like let me ask, please.
Okay.
Like if I want to write it now with this thing that you have given now. So
Mhm.
first I'll say Nkem equals to perpetual.
Exactly.
Perpetual equals to Ario. Then
Mhm.
Ario equals to
Equals to
Nkem.
Nkem. Thank you. You
Okay.
got it. So now look at what I said. Z now Nkem equals perpetual. Abi? Perpetual equals
Yes,
Ario.
Ario.
Then
Then Ario
Ario
equals to
equals
Nkem.
Nkem. Do you understand now?
Okay. Yes, I get it now.
Do you
Thank you.
understand now? And you can't store, I can't really store. The reason why, the analogy now is that you can't collect. You can't collect if you have. You can't collect another one. It's like, okay, why is Mrs. Perpetua not just collecting from Mr. Ariel immediately?
If you're still
Because
holding
that
something in your hand.
exactly because you are holding something already. So that is it. So if you are storing a variable as A cannot accept another variable again and have two. If you put another variable as A will accept the last one that you stored. Do you understand? So that is what we are trying to say. So now if I print X and Y, the first one is print X. X is now a girl and print Y. Y is now a boy. So that is it. So let's go to the next one. So people are already saying, ah, this Python is simple now. So let's continue. Data types. That is, what are the types of data that we have? Now, the first one is an integer. Integers are whole numbers. Whole numbers can either be positive or negative. So 5 is a whole number. It does not have any fraction or decimal. So I'm storing number 1 till num1. I'm storing it as what? 42. Num2, I'm storing it as what? -10. And num3, I'm storing it as what? 0. And once I finish storing, I will run it. So it has saved it. It has saved it. Why is it not bringing out any output for us? Because we didn't tell it to do anything. I just said num1 is 42. Python is like, okay, I've had you. So we have another one again, another type of data called float. Float is another number, but in this case, it is a fraction. Float is used to represent fraction, and normally it's going to come out as a decimal. So I have something called, I stored it as a number float. A number float, I represented it with 3.14. I said, okay, save this number float, save it as what? 3.14, and I ran this. If I run this, it has saved it too. So anyway, I want to use 3.5, I can just easily say number float. We have another one called string, and I said it is a text. It represents text and is enclosed in a single or double quote. So I can either use a single one, a single quotation. If you look at it, this is a single quotation, and this is what? A double quotation. In Python, you use only double quotation. You don't use single quotation. But Python, don't worry. Single quotation, double quotation, everything is correct. Yeah, in Python. So if I say text, if I can decide, okay, I'm saving this text now as hello world. I'm saving it as hello world. This name, I'm saving it as Alice. And this message, I'm saving it as Python is fun. That is what I'm saving it as. So now we have another type. So that is what string type. That's another type of data. We have another one called Boolean value. Boolean values have only two values. It is either true or false. So those are the Boolean values, true or false. And I'm saving it as it's raining, true, as Wi-Fi. I can. What I'm trying to do is I'm just telling you that you can save your variable as with any name you want. I'm saving this as. So anytime I want to use false, I can just easily say as Wi-Fi. So if I write as Wi-Fi somewhere else in another cell, false will come out. That's another thing. Now we are getting there. There's another type of data in Python called a list. And what is a list? A list is a collection of items in a square bracket. So the first thing you need to know is that it has to be in a square bracket. Have you seen it? It's inside a square bracket. So I can have anything inside. I can have anything inside of that square bracket. Now, I can have apple, then comma, banana, comma, cherry, all those things. I have another one. Yeah, I can have, if you look at this is an integer, this is a text, this is a Boolean value, and this is what? A float. So this is the list. This is a collection. You can have as many items inside this list as possible. As many as possible.
Hello, sir.
Okay, ma.
Hello, sir. Yeah, I want to ask, this mixed fruit, must it have that this sign? That can it be space
Underscore,
instead of
right?
putting that sign underscore? Yes, must it have that underscore?
Yes. So now in Python,
Okay, so we can't
we
have
are very
space.
yes, we are
Okay.
very conversant with space. Because even if I want to call it out, Python is saying it, okay, let me do something. That's a very good question. So even for your column headers that does not have that has space in between. Let's say a column header has something like IJAN class. Before you bring it to Python, I would advise you to just put IJAN underscore class. It's better that way, so that you don't have problem. Because now, let's assume I want to call out this mixed list. I want to call it out. Mixed list. If you look at it now, can you see the color of this list is now different? Do you understand?
Yes. Yes.
Let me run
Yeah.
it. Can you see? There's an error already because it's seeing it as two different things.
Mm.
It's already saying, okay, can you see where the error is? It's on that list, right?
Okay. Just like in SQL.
Thank you. So now, what can I do if this is the name I want to use? I don't want to use underscore. This is where our what backward comma can come into play. I don't think it's even working, sir. It's not working. It's not working. So you have to put your underscore. Sorry. You have to put your underscore. So let's put our underscore. Because those spaces, Python is very, very space sensitive. So we've saved it. We have saved it. We have another one called tuple, not a list now. Tuple. What is the difference between a list and a tuple? We don't use square brackets. We use our normal bracket. Do you understand what I just said? We don't use square brackets. We use our normal bracket. So that's the difference between a tuple and a list. We'll be doing some operations on them later, so you understand. I just wanted to get the difference now. Tuple is what? It's like a list, but instead of using a square bracket, what are we using? Our normal bracket. So there's a flexibility around that. There's another type called dictionary. What is dictionary? An ordered a collection of key value pairs. We have the key and we have the value. We have the key and we have the value. It is from this dictionary the idea of tables came into play. The idea of you having tables, that Excel table that we used to have, it is from this we have that. So now, if you look at this, all these things that we have here, they are not they are not in a cell. They are not codes. This is um, an English word just to give us an insight into what the code is telling us, right? So this is not going to be under code. Can you see it is under what? Markdown. What I explained to you earlier. It is under Markdown, then I can run it. Now, in a case where, in our SQL, there's a way we can write comments, right? You remember, like if I want to write a comment above this now, I can just do something like this. I can just go up and I'll start with an hash sign, hash sign, then I can write anything I want. Python is not going to see this as a code because we already started with what? An hash sign. So this one is what? A comment, just a comment. You understand that from SQL already. So that is another thing. Then another thing I want to show us. Okay, now I'll still explaining dictionary. So what are the unique identifiers of a dictionary? A dictionary will start with a curly bracket and it will end with a curly bracket. So what does this really mean? This is telling us the name of the columns of our table. I don't want to go into details of that now. But if you look at it, this is the key, the name, and the name of the person is what? Bob. This is age, and the age of the person is what? 25. This is the grade, and the grade of the person is what? A. Look at another one, name. The name of the person is what? Carol. The position, manager. Salary, 60,000. So is a collection of key and value. So the key is name, the value is Bob. The key is age, the value is what? So if you go to your Excel too, the columns are the keys, and what you have under them are your values. So we have another one called set.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So this student employee info, they are like the names of the tables.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, okay.
That's the name of the table. So now, this is not really a table yet. Oh. There's a way we convert this to a table. So even if you want to convert something to a table, you first start from dictionary. So once you have your dictionary, then you can convert your dictionary to a table. But in a normal space, the table name now is now going to be employee info. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the set? Unordered collection of unique items enclosed in a curly bracket of braces, or it can be connected, or it can be created using a set constructor. So instead of writing this, look at it. I can decide to write a set. This is a set, right? That's curly bracket, just like a dictionary. But in this case, a dictionary has what? It has key and value. Between the key and value, we have what? A colon. But this one just has the curly bracket and it has values. What if I don't want to write it like this? I can start with set, then I'll write whatever I want to write, I'll write it inside. But now if I'm starting with set, I don't need to write a curly bracket again. I'll just use the normal bracket. Do you understand? So that was not really anything. Now let's go into let's move forward. Let's move forward. Now operations on numeric data type, that is the integer and float. Those are the numeric data type we have now. So we have integer and float. Don't forget, our number one is what? 10. Our number two is what? 3.5. I'm not saying addition. I want you to save a variable called addition, and I want it to be what? Num1 plus num2. Don't forget, num1 is what? 10, and num2 is what? 3.5. I want you to create another what? Variable called subtraction, and that's going to be num1 minus num2. I want you to create another what? Variable called what? Multiplication, and that's going to be what? Num1 times num2. I want you to create another one called what? Division, and that's going to be what? Num1 divided by what? Num2. I want you to create another variable called modulus. And how do we represent modulus? Num1 percentage num2. That's how we create modulus. Please, do we all understand the meaning of modulus in normal mathematics theory?
That's a remainder.
Thank you. So if you are dividing something by another thing, let's say I want to divide 5 divided by 3. Now, you know the remainder is what? You know the remainder is 5 divided by 3, the remainder is 2. It is that remainder that is called modulus. So if I say 20 divided by 3, the remainder is what? 2. 15 divided by 6, the remainder is what? 3. It is that remainder that is called modulus. So now, exponentiation, that is maybe raised to power something. So this is number 1 raised to power 2. So if I want to say number 1 raised to power 40, so it's going to be double star. You know, if it is one star, it will be number 1 times 2. But double star now means raised to power 2. It does not mean if I want to say raised to power 3, I will put 3 stars. Even if I want to put raised to power 100, I will just say double star, then I'll put 100 in front. So now, these are just ways of storing variables, right? Then I'm telling Python that, okay, print addition for me, comma. When you print the addition, comma, put subtraction beside it, comma, multiplication, comma, division, that is all these things. And if you look at it, 10 and 3.5, by the time I add it together, is what? 3.5. 10 minus 3.5, 6.5. 10 times 3.5, 35.0. 10 divided by 3.5. Can you see? Python is giving us our answer, I think, in how many decimal places? 3, 3, 3, making 9, 12, 15 in 15 decimal places. So that's how accurate Python is. So we have the modulus 10 divided by 3.5. The modulus is what 3, and 10 times 10 raised to power 2 is 100. So you can start doing your um, you can start doing your modulus on that. So you can start doing your numerical operations on numbers in your Python. So now, if x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 5, I'm storing x as 10 and I'm storing y as 5. Don't forget. Greater than will be equal to what? X greater than y. This is how I can represent x greater than y. I'm just showing you. I'm just showing you that this is how I can represent x greater than y. How do I represent x is less than y? This is how I'm going to represent it. How do I represent x is equal to y? This is where the issue is. How do I represent x is equal to y? I will say x is equal to y. Why are we not just writing equals to just one? Just one is used to what? Represent what? A variable. It's used to store a variable. But now I'm just saying something that, okay, x is equal to y. How do I show that x is equal to y? Like saying x is what? Greater than y, x is less than y. How can I show that x is equal to y? I will use double. X is equal to y. How do I show that x is not equal to y? Can you say it? X exclamation mark and equals to y. Or you can use that our sign. The greater than and less than facing each other. It's still going to work. Same thing. Do you understand, or I should move on?
It's okay.
So now, if you look at it now, x greater than y. I said greater than is x greater than y. It says greater than y. Yes, that is why it is when I say print greater than, and we are storing greater than as x greater than y. Because x is greater than y, it is bringing out what? True as our answer for the first one. X less than y. X is not less than y. That is why it is bringing out what? False. X is equal to y. Is 10 and 5 equal to each other? No. That is why it is bringing out what? False. X is not equal to y. 5 is not equal to 10. That is why it is bringing out what? True. So, now,
Sorry, I don't know. Did you give the command for the true and false? I thought
now,
it's only
like I said, this is not a command. This is x is already a stored variable, y is already a stored variable already. Now, I'm storing another variable to say, it's just like I'm asking, is x greater than y? Now, is x greater than y? Mr. Nare?
yes, it is. Yes.
Yes. So here we use Boolean values, either true or false. So is x greater than y?
Yes.
No, we use Boolean values. So answer with a Boolean value. True or false?
It's true.
True. That's why it's returning true.
What I'm asking is that a page before down you wrote print greater than, so it's just answering that one. So what command did you give that is giving you the Boolean one, true, false, false, and not this one?
Look at the print. The same thing as print.
Okay, that print will also give you the Boolean value
Yes,
immediately.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now we've done operations on text. The next thing we want to do now is operations on strings. Sorry, we've done operations on numbers, right? The next one we want to do is operations on strings. Operations on string. Now, the first thing we can do on string is to concatenate them. What does it mean to concatenate? To join two things together. Look at this. First name, John. Second name, last name, sorry, is Doe. So how can I join the first name and the last name together to get the full name? That is, the name should be John Doe. I'm going to have, okay, I've touched the variable first name as what John and the second variable as Joe. Now the full name should be the first name and the last name. But don't forget that even while you are writing, there will be a space between your first name and your last name. There will be a space, right? You can't just put it together. There will be a space. So I'm saying first name plus, now there's a space. That space is going to be in a double quotation. So I'm saying first name plus space. This is a space. Can you see? There's a space in a double quotation plus, then you put your last name. So if I say print full name now, if I run this, can you see what it's doing? John Doe. Now, in a situation where I do not put that space, what are you going to do? Can you see? Can you see what it's doing? No space between John and Doe.
We
So
have
now,
this in exam.
yes, we have this in Excel too. So now, if I want to have, you can concatenate in Excel too. You can concatenate in everywhere. Power BI or SQL or anywhere. And it's almost the same format. So John Doe. So now, another thing we can do. Another thing we can do on strings is the first one, we can split it, we can strip it, we can replace some things, we can go uppercase, we can go lowercase. Those are things that we know we can do. So now, hold on. I'm trying to say something. Hold on. Okay, now I've seen it. So now look at what we have. The name of the text is what? There's a space. I think we have like four spaces, three spaces, three spaces before hello world, and I think three spaces after it. Now, the first thing I want to do, I said split the text. I want you to split it for me. I want you to split whatever I have here. I want you to split it into two using comma to split it. So whatever you are splitting, I want you to save it as words. I'm saving it as a variable, right? So if you're splitting it now, maybe I will have hello as the first word, then I'll have word as the second one. What did we get? We got the first one to be hello, and we got the next one to be word. Truth is, it has splitted it. Another one, strip text. What does it do? It removes the leading and trailing white spaces. That is, these spaces here. So there are some cases where you have spaces before and after. So you can decide to strip it. So if I strip that, it's going to remove those spaces. And if you look at it, there are no space here again. This is the word now. Forget about having all of this. The next one is to replace. I want you to replace the word here. This word, I want you to replace it with Python. What is the function to replace? The name of the function is what? Text to replace. Don't forget the name of our what? The name of our variable, the original variable is what? Text. So if it was, let's say Ariyo is the name here now, I would have said Ariyo dot replace. If it was Larry, I said Larry equals hello world, and I want to replace a particular thing inside that Larry variable, I would have said Larry dot replace. Open your bracket. Whatever I will have here is the word that is inside this place that I want to replace. I want to replace word, so I'll put the word here. Then the next thing that will be here is, what are you replacing it with? I want to replace the word. I want to replace it with what? Python. So instead of having hello world, I want to have hello Python. So it will do that for us too. And it can convert from this, this is combination of uppercase and lowercase. It can convert from this combination to uppercase. Everything converts to uppercase. And you see, we have our hello Python already, and we have what? Hello world. Everything is in caps now. Everything now is in caps. So we've done something on um, numbers.
Sorry,
Okay.
I don't know whether if you are replacing the if you want to replace the hello itself, how do you do that one? Instead of
Hmm?
replacing the word, the hello,
The what?
the hello, hello word. You are not
Yes.
replacing the word with Python. If you want to replace the hello itself, how do you replace that one?
Okay, Mr. Mariabi.
Yes.
Let's replace hello with Larry. Can you see what
Okay.
I'm doing?
Okay. I think I got it now.
So if I run this now, can you see it's not more hello word, it's now Larry. Do you understand?
Okay, I got now.
Yes. So now, let me just do it. So now, another operation is on list and tuples. List and tuples. So let's start with our list. Don't forget, our list is a combination of or an ordered collection of what items in a what square bracket. While tuple is going to be what in a normal bracket. So now, you know, one thing about list. Let's start from the first thing we want to start doing is indexing and slicing. What does it mean? It's like giving positions to the items in your list. Now this is a list. This number one is the first item, right? This number two is the second item. Number three is the third item. Number four is the fourth item. Number five is the fifth item. But in Python, number one is not the first item. We start our positioning from zero. So number one is the zeroth position. Number two is now the first position. Number three is the second position. Number four is the third position. And number five is the fifth position. In this case, do you understand what I just said? Nobody's saying anything. No?
I understand.
Only Mrs. Nkem understands.
Some
It's
people
clear.
are doing thumbs up. They are, yeah, some people are answering.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Because normally you're not even supposed to be having issues. But it's still flowing. So now I can decide to start slicing or indexing my list. Forget about this tuple now. Just focus on the list. This is the zeroth position. This is the first. This is the second, third, fourth. So now, how do I say, okay, let's assume that I want to see this number three. This number three. Because number three is on the second position, right? Zero, one, two. Yes. Second position. How do I say I want to see number three? I'm going to put it. Okay, now look at the first element, that is the first one here. How do I get it? The name of my list, that is the name of the variable, the name of that list is called my list. Then inside that square bracket, you put the position of what you want. So inside the list, oh, bring the zeroth position for me. Bring what? The zeroth position for me. I'm still going to talk more on slicing and indexing later on. I'm just giving us an overview of everything. So on this particular one, what am I trying to do? Bring on my list, because the name is my list, bring the zeroth position. So this is going to give us what? 1, obviously. So if I said 2, What is it going to bring out, Mrs. Perpetual?
3.
Two
Mrs.
is
Perpetual,
that's number 3.
number 3, thank you. So let's just stay at 0 now. Do you understand? Let's stay
That
at 0.
0 is 1.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So now, what if I want to pick from a particular point to another point? How do I do it? From a particular point to a particular point. So now, on my tuple, I want to take from the second to the fourth. From the second to the fourth. So what will I do? That is from, which is the second one? This is the second one, right? For my tuple. To the fourth one. The fourth one is this one. Because this is the first, second, third, fourth. How am I going to slice it? So I will say I want to take from position number 1, because this is number 1, to number what?
Number 3.
Now in Python, why we are slicing? Thank you. Because what I just explained, it should have been number 3. But in Python, why we are slicing, we have to put it at the back of our mind that whatever we have here, it should have been 3 normally, based on what I was saying about indexing. But slicing is a bit different. It should have been from number 1 to number 3. But this is the way Python understands it. You write 4 because Python would originally remove 1 from this. While you are slicing. So if I'm going from number 1, originally from number 1 to number 100, I would have said from position 1 to 101, because Python is going to remove 1 from that last part. Don't forget. Are you getting it? So now, whatever I have here, I want to store it as what? First element. And whatever I have here, I want to store it as what? Second to fourth. So if I print first element and second to fourth, don't forget first element is my list and the zeroth position. The zeroth position of my list is 1. That's why I'm having 1 here. And the second to fourth, that is from this, this, and this, is what? 20, 30, 40. So if I run this, I'm still going to have the same answer. So that is that. Yes. So can I add to a list and can I remove from it? Yes. You can add and remove from a list. Look at the original list. The original list is 1, 2, 3. Now to add an element inside this list, I will just say my list dot append. That is the name of the function. The function is called dot append. And whatever I want to add inside, I'll just put it inside that bracket. Simple. So if I want to put 4 inside that list, I'll just say my list dot append, then we put 4. If I want to remove a particular thing, let's say I want to remove this 2 now, I'll just say my list dot remove, and I'll put whatever I want to remove inside this. Now I've added 4 and I've removed 2. If I run my list now, if I run this now, what will happen? I will have 1, 3, 4. 2 is out, and 4 has what been included.
Okay, hello sir.
Yes, ma'am.
What if you want to put that 4 not at the end, but maybe in a particular
Okay.
position,
Yes,
maybe
yes, yes.
after
We are coming there.
1 or
We are coming there. Like the positioning, Abby.
yes sir.
No problem. Don't worry. We are coming there. We are still going to be treating. This is not the end of the list, though. There's going to be like a proper class where we are going to be dealing with only list, only. So we are going to get there. Do you understand? This is like giving you a general
Yes.
overview of
Yes sir.
what we'll be doing. So look at dictionary. Hold on. Now operations on the dictionary. like I said earlier, dictionary has the key and it has the value. The key and it has the value. Now, this value here, if I want to store this value here, this Alice, I want to store it as a variable. And they want to call that variable name. No even let us call it name. Let's call it something else. Let's call it ijan underscore name. Here we call it ijan underscore h. Yeah. So this name here, inside this my dictionary, I want to save this name as a variable. I want to store it as a variable. How am I going to bring it out from this dictionary? So it's going to be, what's the name of my dictionary? The name of my dictionary is what? My dict. So I'll say my dict. Then I'll put the key. The key. And the key is what? Name. For this age, I'll put what? The key inside the bracket. Not what I have here. I'll put the key. And I can what? Print out what I have. ijan underscore. Don't forget what I have now, I've changed it. ijan underscore. And I can run that. So what is ijan name? Ijan name is what? Alice. And ijan age. Ijan name is what? 30. Do you understand? So this is just representing now this word. What I'm saying is, instead of saying, okay, another way of doing it is to say, okay, d is equal to this this is another way of doing it. Dot get, that is, go and get the name inside that dictionary. Inside, what's the name of our dictionary? My dict. Dot get is the function. And go and get the name inside that dictionary. The name inside that dictionary, store it as d. Store it as a variable d. If I not say print d, it's going to print out what? Alice. It's going to print out what? Alice.
If you want to add age to it too, using that get, can you combine it together?
If I want what?
Get age, both Alice and the age.
If I want to
With
get now, you know I'm storing in a variable. I can't store more than one thing in a variable, right?
okay. Okay.
Okay. So for the next one, adding and modifying items in dictionaries. So now we can add new key value pairs or modify existing ones. So this is the key, this is the value, this is the key, this is the value. So I can add a new key and value. So I can just say my dict.city is equal to New York. So now we don't have city here, we have only name and age. So if I want to add another one, I want to add city, and the name of the city is New York. If I want to add it inside this particular what dictionary, I will just say my dict.city is equal to New York. That's all, to add it inside. What if I want to change this age to 31, not 30? I'll just say my dict.age now is now equal to 31, not 30. So if I print my dict now, can you see? The name is still Alice. We've changed the age. The age is not 30 again, it's now 31. And the city is now New York. They've added a new key value pair, which is what? City and what? New York. Can you see I'm adding another one? Let me add another what? Let me add it as Anu. So I want to add another key value pair. I want to say Anu, and the value is going to be 50. So if I run this now, Can you see? I have anu 50. And if I want to change that anu, it's not supposed to be 50, it's supposed to be 51. So I can just come here and say anu 51. And if I run this now, can you see? Our anu now is what? 51. Our anu now is now 51. Then the next thing now, operations on set. Just like our normal set in mathematics. So operations on set. What are the operations you can have on set? This is a set 1, and this is another set 2. Union. What is the meaning of union? That is the combination of the two sets. Set 1 union. This is the sign for union. Set 2. That is the combination of both. But in cases where there is a repetition, you don't repeat it. Like 3 is appearing. If I compare this, if I add these two together now, I will have 1, 2. Then 3 is appearing twice. That doesn't mean in my answer the 3 will appear twice. It will just appear once. So I'll say 1, 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, and there's 6. That is what union. Intersection is what is inside 1 that is also inside 2. So what is inside both? It is 3 and 4. That is the meaning of intersection. Then difference. Difference is what is inside 1 that is not inside 2. That is, I'm removing 2 from 1. So what will be left? 1 and 2. That's what will be left. So now what is union? If I run this now, for our union, can you see? It has added everything together. For our intersection, what is inside set 1 that is also inside set 2? It is 3 and 4. Now what is inside set 1 that you can, if I remove set 2 from it, that is, I will remove 3 and 4 because 3 and 4 is in set 2. What will remain? That is minus. So that is 1 and 2. That's why we have 1 and 2 here. So can I add to a set? Look at this set now. Can I add to it? Yes. If I want to add an element inside, so the function is what? Dot add. And I'll put inside the bracket whatever I want to add inside. 4. And if I want to remove, the function is what? Dot remove. And I can remove 2 also. So I've added 4 and I've removed 2. If I decide to run print my set, can you say I have 1, 3, 4. I have 1, 3, 4. So that's basically it.
So this one, assuming instead of writing print my set, if you don't write the print, you just write my set, will it still come out?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Okay.
So that's basically what we have. So tomorrow we continue with our function. Any question?
Is there any way we can get this so we can understand the terms?